Charge up your game with excitement. Highest odds on the market. Coverage of all live and pre-match events. Place your bets with Solid Bookmaker and win with your favorite teams. Take what's rightfully yours with GG.bet.
We're back live with the action. Inferno it is going to be, as we are funny-wise seeing both teams picking up the opponent's map pick. It's about a ticket to the minor. Both Heroic and Crazy can get that one rolling for themselves. I mean, map number one had an interesting twist to it. The second seemed a bit draining from an energy perspective. Let's see how that one will go, Michael.
Yeah, both maps, Crazy have been in the lead for quite a considerable amount of time, but Heroic able to pull off a strong performance on Dust 2 to make things interesting, make it so that it is the full 3-map series. But we've said it a number of times before, both of these teams have very similar map pools, and so Inferno is going to be a very tightly fought one as well, I anticipate. Heroic will get the start on the CT side that they so desperately would have preferred, just so that they can get an early advantage, because you've seen how commanding Crazy can be when put in the driver's seat. They'll have to show what they're made of on the T side, and they've got some utility already under their belt. Next to an Auto holding on to 2 sets of smokes, one with Molotovs, one with flashes. Heroic have at least a kit on Stavin as well, so a retake opportunity still there for the CT side, should it come to that. S-Attack's alone on B, though, and Crazy are posturing up into that position, so Heroic will most likely have to retake that portion of the map if they do converge on that site, but it seems like they're heading back towards A, and that's where the majority of the CT presence is.
Sneaky plays once more coming out of Crazy. Oh, this is extremely interesting. As NATO Safix is already tagged down, he's not enjoying that. Drive-by onto Hunter is odd, but if it works, it's fine. And therefore, Irox starts off the show. Nexus to be eliminated next, and that bomb has hit the ground. NATO is praying that he has his set right there, and as the Q comes in, takes down 2 with just 15 points of health.
A great job. Even though he sustained the headshot in the early stage of the round, he's still able to have so much impact there for Heroic. Like you said, the drive-by onto Hunter, a bit strange that it's even converted, or that the shot even hit on towards Hunter, but gave enough space for Freiburg to come into action, and with NATO just kind of lingering on the bomb site, he was able to find the right timing as well. So what's that now? 2 pistols in a row for Heroic. They won the second half pistol, they win this pistol as well on the 3rd map. Of course, Crazy still with a better track record. They've won 3 of 5.
And this right here, it's where Heroic, I mean, delivered amazingly on Dust 2. Where I think Crazy somehow, I'm not quite sure if they lost stamina or focus or whatever it is, but I mean, they could have taken this 2-0 basically, secured themselves a slot for the minor, because the last thing you want is to continuously live on the edge, because in case Crazy would lose this, lower bracket would be calling, and then it gets a little uncomfortable, wouldn't it?
Yeah, would much rather secure your spot earlier than later. Heroic losing out in the early duel, it seems. One kill over towards Banana. S-Attack able to sweep things under the rug by and large, but still gets taken out. There's, of course, no smoke for the Crazy side to cross on towards the bomb site, so Letney will try his best to jump away from the gaze of the opposition. May actually be able to get this bomb planted. That's a nice little cash injection for Crazy, should it go all the way through. It does, and although he's shortly going to be taken out, that's going to be as much of a success as Crazy were hoping for.
Right. Right. And so, Heroic, with just the 2-0 coming in their way, You mentioned the track record, to once more give that out to the viewers. I mean, on paper, Heroic has played this map 6 times, won it 5 out of 6. Crazy played 12 times, won 7 out of 12. With wins from Heroic, and I think that's worth mentioning, Hellraisers and Big were the last 2 from the side of Chaos. Force, Windstrike, Alternate, Chaos. Not the biggest names, you could say.
Still, certainly out of the sort of contest of that Crazy will typically be up against, right? I mean, they're usually going up against the likes of the Epsilons. That sort of hovering just outside of that tier 1 circuit. That's why this would be such a, I mean, crazy upset if it did go in that regard. If it did go to this crazy lineup.
Right.
Heroic are usually up against much stronger oppositions, and they've had some very good successes against them. Crazy looking to break into that tier 1 circuit, of course. Great entry there from Hunter. Esotag just trying to jump spot over the wall, not anticipating the position up close and personal. Crazy have put a lot of investment into this position, and they've ground out a lot of the clock. 45 seconds remaining. They're going to set themselves up for the B execute. And Heroic don't have that much of an inkling. There's still 2 players in this position, but they're going to be trapped behind smokes.
And as they're trapped behind those smokes, Freiburg got a strike initially. Oh, look how low they put them on HP. 4-4 and 44. As it was God's plan, but NATO and Stavin do themselves a favor by accelerating away from the action. Crazy with the first, and exit frags would be nice to have, but Heroic is aware that they are under pressure from an economic point of view. Both NATO and EasyTac on 250, so they'd rather not lose weapons, I would say.
I do believe that there's many a film about the number 4 being the answer to the universe.
Is that so?
I believe that's a theory.
I don't know, actually.
We've seen many a 4 in this round.
For sure.
Not sure how I feel about that one. NATO Savix, though, gonna be the last player remaining for Heroic, and he's gonna be able to hold on to that org. So now as we approach round number 4, Crazy have at least brought the first round forward, and it's a gun round at that. Crucially so. And we will see the Heroic reinvestment. This isn't going to be the best of buys from the CT side. So right. We've got a number of SMGs in play. Although they've got a decent amount of utility, they can contest things like the apartments. They could even go for this more aggressive play in towards Banana, which we've been seeing fairly early on from them. The Crazy have been putting a lot of emphasis in this position as well. They're prepared for these fights.
As we see, Hunter takes down one, NATO Savix eliminated. Seems like we might go already in the tied-up situation early on. And there you see, with a focus shifting over from the side of Heroic over on to B, things might look sinister. First player there to find, and that's funny because you wouldn't expect the second player on Boiler, right? But that's the way it goes. And well,
Heroic, we're going for that stack, the boost towards the apartments. That certainly caught Crazy out, but I mean, another shutout round from the T sides. We honestly, in this whole best of 3, we've seen some very clean T side halves in terms of minimizing costs and casualties and really being able to build up a decent economy on that portion of the map. We saw it on Dust 2, Mirage respectively, and we're seeing a little bit more of that from Crazy on this T side.
well, it seems like we're maybe having the same sort of storyline to every single map we had so far. It always got tight, it always was slow, and therefore it's gonna be that way, I would say. As only one AK has been brought through the eco for the rest of Heroic. Gives us a good time, I would say, to recap on what we have had so far. Heroic somehow winning the map called Dust 2 in overtime with 4-1. That was a bit of a surprise, if you ask me. As we saw there, especially Easttag and Stavin leading the way. Mirage a bit more sinister, especially considering that the T side of Heroic was not happening and not really going there well. Yet again, Easttag performing. So I think you don't have to count too far to understand that. You would expect them to once more go that far and find a proper victory. As crazy though, they can always rely on the likes of an Esperanto. And therefore, I'm very much looking forward to how this one will go. Crazy. In the past, we saw them play the minor. And I remember accurately, it was Inferno where they have lost against Vitality to actually advance to the major stage. That was Valiant back then, but now they're crazy, and they possibly stand a good chance to advance in the circle.
This has just gotten me thinking. We've seen them be named Valiants, you know, good descriptor. We've seen them be called Crazy, another good descriptor. What's the next one?
I don't rate myself eloquent enough in German. In English to make that work. In German, I'd surely be, but well, like this thing with Sprout, right? Sprout before it was called Seed. Maybe this is all an evolution we're seeing next, from Crazy to Maniac. Who knows?
I think there may be a particular player that would object to that rebranding. Either way, we're finally away from the polls. Crazy, you've gone 2 in a row. And, touchdown nade on board. That's the tag. And BlameF, he's going to strike off the back of it. He takes down 1, although he takes a lot of damage in doing so. He at least makes it an equal affair. This should immediately signal for Crazy to hit the A site. I mean, the AK has been identified as being on the B bomb site, so things should be easier over at A. NATO gets 1, but immediately traded, and both these heroic players are now tagged as well from the earlier fights. Stavin could potentially recover a weapon in towards Banana, as Crazy have completely given up that position, but BlameF will cower with that AK in hand, just hoping to hold on to it. Instead, Stavin's going to go for some additional damage, it seems. I think now being told that there's a weapon that he can recover, he's thinking different of it.
I have a question, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the Me and the Boys meme?
No?
With the 4 comic characters sitting together?
No, I don't.
Oh, sad. Well, then everything is worthless on one hand.
I thought I was world class in terms of knowing these niche memes, but
you're disappointment, Michael.
Nah, I know that's disappointing.
That's really disappointing from you. I mean, it would have been fitting quite well because, well, Nexa and the boys are at this point in time getting in somewhat the right direction after looking a little shaky in the first 2. I mean, it's no clear indicator, so therefore bouncing back immediately. When we talk about this map, when we talk about Heroic, and when we talk about Crazy, on Inferno you have to say both are a bit more CT side, especially Crazy actually, nearly 60-40. So you would imagine that they're the ones who then therefore don't take too many rounds right here, but they seem to be in the driver's seat. Letney White peeking and therefore taking Banana anytime soon could once more secure them number 4, but first of all they need to go that far. Support flash would be needed. The nades on Letney are really putting him in an ugly spot.
I think Heroic are just going to be happy that they got out of that situation. They themselves were taking a lot of damage from the utility, although Letney gets tagged down lower than the CT counterparts. Same amount of damage has roughly been done. Meanwhile, over at the A-bomb site, seems like it's a 1-for-1 exchange. A quick trade is at least available there for Crazy. They hold on to the apartments. That forces out some utility from Heroic. And this puts a lot of pressure now onto these 2 site players. Typically, a site that you feel most comfortable when you have 3 players in that position. Heroic will be scared now that an arch play could potentially come through towards the B-bomb site. BlameF now has to go and pick that up as NATO is danced between that angle, now has to rotate in towards the site to hold this crossfire with Freiburg, and that draws Heroic's defenses even thinner.
There you see right there, Otto slowly and steady moving it onto the site. He's tagged with those superior firepower in combination with Blame. I mean, that was shut down in a matter of seconds. 2 individuals doing it all. Heroic tying things up again.
Certainly the pieces were there for Crazy. The player was isolated on the site, the smokes were down, but pushing right past them, they just took all the fights necessary as a tag in towards Dark with the AUG. We see that's such a power play position with that particular weapon. You see it held with the AWP, but the AUG allows you to be a little bit more dynamic in your play. You can just rattle off shots, allow for the rotations to come through, and really sit in that position. And
ouch.
Going into another buy round, it's Letney this time finished off by nades. He's taking tag damage before, but not quite able to dodge them the same way. Hunter as well as a lot of shrapnel in his legs.
It's not very happy, is it? Not very satisfied by that. And Crazy. Just making them a compliment, then things unfortunately turn around. So we're experiencing just NATO to hope for a proper shot once the smoke fades, but is he going to be there in the meantime? Not really. Stavin going to do the majority of the job. The AUG superior to all the other weapons. NATO took the wide way around, and Hunter is hoping for at least another few frags. It would be an ace in case he turns this one around, and I don't really want to say that this sounds unrealistic, but it seems very unrealistic.
Creeping forward, NATO's in an off angle, so you should see him momentarily, but the scope of NATO is actually preventing him from seeing Hunter. He would have a clear sight line on towards him. Yeah, okay, finally the shots rattle off by Hunter and NATO pulls the trigger. Heroic get a 4th, keeping all 5 players alive. Like you said, it would have been a valiant effort to get all 5. Certainly an effort that would have gone well noticed, but very difficult for Hunter to attain. So finally, it's a lead here for Heroic. After winning the pistol, the subsequent round as well, Crazy answered back. And now Heroic looking to establish a bit more dominance, especially considering this is a round in which Crazy only have 1 AK to work off of. It's pistols in the majority for the T side. No utility to work with her to try and prevent Heroic from taking too much map control, and so the CTs will push forward. They've gotten control of Deep Banana already. Crazy won't put too much of an emphasis in that position as a result of it.
And this is an ouch. Stavin eliminated. Painful shot in the head as the 50 cal lands directly where it's supposed to be. And Heroic and Crazy, they are fighting for a slot to nothing else than that miner. Freiburg eliminating Esperanto, putting them in a good spot. More to come. As suddenly, Nexa, Letney, and Otto, they try to seize the opportunity. They try to seize the opportunity so badly to at least deal more damage. Crazy collapsing in this would be no real surprise. I mean, there's the big money bonus coming in next or anytime soon. And all the damage they deal, that's more than fine. That's more than enough.
Yeah, they'd certainly be able to afford up a buy into the next round should they lose or win this round regardless. So, gonna make a good go of it if they can. A couple of rifles in play, the CZ as well, and now they're going to creep on using the smoke. They're going to execute this site very late, but it may catch Heroic out. 2 players still sit on the bomb site and the pit respectively.
Oh,
NATO
no.
still sits there, and they're not going to be able to clear him out in time. The bomb cannot make it through, and NATO delivers the finishing kill. Certainly a few opportunities there for Crazy if they just committed all their bodies into the site. Instead, they tried to play for post plants, and Heroic hit their shots.
Yeah, very much it seemed like Nexa back on Library would be the one who immediately strikes to take the flanker out and then attacks on A immediately. Did not happen yet.
Seems like 3 in a row for Heroic is where Crazy will finally blow the whistle, call a timeout, talk to their coach and see what has gone wrong.
Yeah, Emmy used to be a long time actually in the active lineup of Valiants, where they were funny wise all Serbian, and they were quite good back then. But yeah, I mean, either way, you see right here, no real issue occurring. Heroic in a quite decent spot, and well, like I said, Crazy tends to be a bit more CT-sided. So, I mean, if you ask me, a 10-5 for Heroic would be the quite ideal situation. Yet again, Crazy being that CT-sided, you don't know what happens once they switch sides.
Oh, Crazy with a very different pace approaching this round. Already taking brackets control, forcing these players back in towards their bomb sites respectively. It's already called the rotation in towards the arches. NATO, 1-for-1 in towards Esperanto. The secondary frag not there as Freiburg drops the bomb. Suddenly a smoke deployed. He could certainly isolate this player in Letany, and he does so successfully. Now Nexa and Otto need to recover this bomb as best they can, but there's 3 players all in that arch position.
Oh, Michael, I mean, that A side seems a bit radiated for Crazy, and I don't want to come closer at that point in time. That bomb, it's basically brought to you on a pedestal, and
Yeah.
in the meantime, Nexa trying his best, 6-3.
A swift delivery as if ordered online. Heroic gonna be more than happy with how that round has played out. Freiburg holding strong in towards the arches would really sealed the deal, but the bomb pushing forward in the first 2 players, certainly not ideal for Crazy. There was certainly a plan in play. They had an idea of how they wanted to approach the round, but the execution may have just been a bit lacking. They got the opening kill they needed, but it was all about trying to limit what Heroic could answer back with, because I don't think that they were anticipating Freiburg to already be in that rotation. Heroic quite often setting up for 3 players over towards B and taking deep banana control, at least in the early stages. They thought they would have a little bit more time before he was able to strike and contribute. Crazy though, through mid, NATO Safix pushing through a smoke to try and get a kill. He was flashed up, and now that gives an AWP into Crazy's hands. This is dangerous. Stavin at least will answer back with 1, but there's a rifle in play for them. They deal with it, but Esperanto trades. 1-for-1 exchanges back and forth. So far, Crazy may be able to get onto the site.
Yeah, they might be able to do so, and that would be shocking. I mean, now it is funny-wise only 1 more ZZ. It's a little saddening for Crazy. As the bomb goes down, additional money is for sure granted, and so only 1 man inside. Blame is eliminated him.
Very explosive set of rounds here from this Crazy lineup. Living up to their name for sure. I mean, going away from what was very passive defaults and just working the map out slowly, they're trying to catch Heroic off guard, and they've been successful in now 2 instances. You'd imagine that may prompt this CT side to play a little bit more reserved, a bit more passive, and just try and deploy counter utility to any sort of aggression that Crazy pushed through.
Right.
But we'll have to see if that adaptation does come through now, moving into another gun round.
I think you would agree with me that we have seen in this matchup so far many weird situations where the first part of the first half is very dominant for one side, and immediately things got swapped, and I mean drastically swapped, right? So I'm very much looking forward if that's going to happen. Double usage of utility as Esperanto should find Stavin. Yeah, indeed, as he edges over the smoke. So the 4 versus 4 of the aggressors tending to be a bit more banana heavy, I would say. So let's see.
I think Crazy are going to be a little bit concerned about the apartments just because of that early aggression in towards second middle. So we'll funnel them towards both Esatag and Blame.
The molly is good though. That's going to hold him up a little longer. SP down, and look at the hesitation. If Esatag is going to use the right timing, I could imagine him doing a lot. You see Blame spraying down 1, and Crazy gotta work with half of their force. We're actually less than half of their force. As Letny and Otto gotta find a way over to the other side, it seems to be. I mean, SCTAG must hear it and realize once it's happening, and so his patience is now crucial.
No backing away now here for Crazy. They wouldn't have enough time to rotate and clear out the A site, so SCTAG is cold, irritation. Otto and Letny still trying to creep in towards the site. SCTAG is here, and there is another player not far
10
behind, but
seconds.
he's not going to bite on the fake plant. Now SCTAG has a chance to maybe isolate this duel if given the opportunity, but now they're just going to wait for Freiburg to rotate in as well.
And the thing is, can they make it work in 2v3? One wrong play, and suddenly things might start to collapse. SCTAG not going to come through at the moment, and so you see the presence of Letny is so important. He's dodging a flashbang. He knows about CT, and so you got to do it together. Both running to come in. Oh, no! SCTAG! This is madness coming in from Letny, as they didn't play it together. This is nothing else than half number one denied. I am shocked. Absolutely.
That was phenomenal from Letny. Such good presence of mind to find the timing. The kill in towards CT spawn, isolating the duel, using that headshot angle to his advantage. And what a shot to finish it off.
Oof. This leaves you with questions, doesn't it? Absolutely mind-blowing. What do you want to say about that?
I think it's been lacking on the Crazy side in terms of individuals performing in the clutch.
Oh,
so
yeah.
a round like that definitely helps bring the morale up to push forward into the latter stages of this first half. By and large, it has been heroic performing in those clutch situations, but now Crazy, they may just be fired up off the back of it. Esperanto pick in towards the B-bomb site. Isolated engagement now on towards SCTAG. Although he's called a rotation, Esperanto gets both. Surviving on 4 HP, they should be able to get this bomb planted. Although NATO Suffix is here, he's trapped behind the smoke and can't contribute too much.
Yet again, Michael, I think that's going to be all in safety for Crazy. Most definitely going to find that. And as the spray, or more likely the taps from SB are coming in, Freiburg and NATO, they don't have big money reserves, so especially now, it's probably time to leave.
We're seeing that second wind. Something that we've seen in this best of 3 so many times already. Early rounds advantage go one way. Like you say, it swings right back. And then we see this small glimmer back into the game as we approach the end of the first half. Crazy answering back with now 2 in a row, both times hitting towards that B-bomb. So although they relied on the individual prowess of Letny in one of them, I'll be more than happy to bring those forward. Like you had said earlier, Heroic will be more than happy with 10-5, and that's, I think, kind of a must. Like you pointed out, Crazy, certainly more CT-sided in this exchange, and I think a majority of teams are in some respects. I think there are a few outliers that sit out there where their T-sides are certainly more dominant, but I think if Heroic get themselves up to double digits, they'll be more than comfortable, especially if the pistol round win is on the horizon for them. They've won the last 2. At least it would hold our narrative that this game has been close if Heroic could get 3 in a row like Crazy were able to do at the start of this.
Exactly, but I mean, this one shouldn't be it, right? It would be a surprise. Shouldn't have said it. Shouldn't have said it. There they come. A free weapon for NATO, but realistically speaking, this can't be going the way of Heroic. And as you see, shutdown initiated. Nexa casually taps down too.
I think we need to continue hyping up that round just so that there was a possibility.
No, I understand that, but on the other side, I'm a very realistic person.
Of course.
You sound sad, Michael. Is everything all right?
I just love when pistols overpower rifles.
Oh yeah,
It gives me something to critique
for.
quite heavily.
Oh, okay. As long as you're staying positive, I'm very happy. Seemingly like heroic for the moment! My goodness, Esperanto! His feet are burning away, yet he finds 2. This leaves you speechless, doesn't it?
Phenomenal set of frags. Heroic caught completely with their pants down. And Crazy will capitalize in the hands of Esperanto. Meanwhile, Nexa, he deals with the counter-aggression there from Stab, and Esatag still alone towards top banana, trying to retrieve a different weapon and back himself away. He has another smoke that he can deploy, so for now, Crazy won't move a muscle. NATO's being trusted to lock down the A side of things as well, but it doesn't seem like Crazy are too scared away from this site.
Well, what a crazy thing to do it would be. Horrible person I probably am for always making those same jokes. Yet again, it's a cruel joke. Heroic delivers. Could have been on to double digits. That one round that failed, you know, this started it to some degree, right? This started this entire downfall. Let me getting this double back onto Grill is what initiated this streak for Crazy. Probably just brought them this momentum and this happiness in the end. And EasyTech, there we go. I mean, save is the most reasonable thing. Otherwise, they would just serve 2 weapons on a silver platter. You don't want that.
Crazy could actually hunt for this in just only the one player in auto, but you'd actually like to see that come through, because you look at the CT side economy. If they are able to bring these weapons forward, that's another factor they'll have to be concerned about moving into the last round of the half. If they can take this AWP out of NATO's hands by some means, that would make things easier for Crazy moving forward. But it seems like they're going to go for the more conservative approach, not taking too many risks. You can certainly see both sides of it, but definitely an argument to be made, especially since they'll have an overabundance of cash coming into this last round, that they should have maybe chased those down a little bit more aggressively. In spite of that, they will still have the AWP and the AUG brought forward for Heroic as we approach the last round of the first half here on map number 3. Of course, both these teams trying to progress and secure a spot in the minor.
Right. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? It's not just about a few grand or something like that. This is where you could head into the major. Heroic, a team which you actually would imagine to be there. I mean, surely the international competitive scene is so stacked, especially Europe. I mean, like I said before, this could be a DreamHack event or something, and you wouldn't be surprised about it, really. Now, EasyTech tries to make his dreams come true, but SP is being SP. No chance to just get this man out of the server. You can't pass him. Nate through Safix. This is unbelievable. My goodness, SP. He's feeling it.
And that's overpowering the banana players. There's an argument for Esperanto to be the new king of banana. Certainly not quite as much stature behind him, but he's certainly asserting so much dominance in that position in those last 2 rounds. He gets the wins for Crazy. They'll hold the advantage into the second half. What a strong performance to end that off for Crazy.
Yes, especially right to head it off. I mean, we were, and let me be accurate, yeah, in a 7-3 performance. Suddenly 5 rounds in a row. And tell me whatever you want. That's disgusting. What do you want to say about that? I mean,
this has pretty much been the story the entire of this best of 3. We've had back and forth sets of exchanges. We've had advantages given up, and each and every time it seems like as soon as one team is able to establish a bit of an inch, the other team answers with an inch right in response. So although this pistol round may go Heroic or Crazy's way, I anticipate it'll be a fight to the finish.
right. He's attacked up, tapping down Hunter. The bomb has hit the ground, and the B side is now the main objective for Crazy to take. As yet, Blame is trying to dodge it, lives a very uncomfortable life. Here comes the one tap onto Letney. NATO stays up high, is looking for more, but gets denied. 3 versus 3 is possible. Don't see the kit on any of the players right now. And this is Nexa starting to tap away more. Freibeck, though, he's on the clock. He's trying to dance around, and his dance seems to be successful. SB has no chance.
And just like that, we're tied up. Heroic continues the trend. Crazy won the first 3 pistols. Heroic, the last 3. And now they'll try and push forward into this. They'll buy up the AKs, the SMGs as well. But Crazy this time, they've been very good at holding on to and not buying up in these second rounds. But Inferno, a different beast. A strategy that you'll see on this map, overpass train as well, where you just want to get some additional utility to fight for closely contested areas like Banana, the apartments, as well as having some sort of a response for any sort of pressure you feel in towards middle. Crazy will look to see how much they can do, whether they'll pull around away from Heroic or simply do damage.
And just seeing the upgraded weaponry for Crazy, it could give them a possibility. Yet again, you have to say, Freiberg is feeling it, and the rest of the crew is arriving on the side. I got my doubts that this is going to work. Bombs hitting the ground. And even the 5.7s, I mean, trying to spray through, unrealistically not working. And with armor, you might consider saving up, and that seems reasonable. Letney, Nexa, and Otto staying away from the action, saving through.
Freiberg was being a little bit dangerous, a little bit daring as well. He sat right behind that smoke as that 5.7 was spamming through, so could have potentially gone down. But like you said, Crazy just setting up and saving that weaponry going into the next round if possible. They weren't successful in the force buy this time, so they'll see if they can accomplish a bit more in the following round. They'll contain them in towards Banana, and they'll actually do a decent amount of damage, but they'll lose Nexa in the process. That will now prompt Crazy to cut their losses, and so they bring a couple of SMGs forward. They can now drop pistols into some of their teammates' hands, but again, it's going to be another round in which it should be easily enough a heroic round with a few twists. They're able to deal with these players that have armor. Everything else should be a clean-cut affair from there. Especially given that they've still got a number of these rifles in play, and the SMGs as well will do their best to create some space for those rifles to really work.
Oh, for the double nade.
Oh.
Ouch! This is painful. Look how ready they were for that. And I could imagine Letney is not a fan of Pop Dog, pardon, Boiler anytime soon yet again. This is where Crazy might not be able to deny double digits. Heroic is then 6 rounds away from success. If that's happening, of course, a different sort of story. And Heroic, even though considering, I mean, they must be aware of the economy of their opponent, that they're playing it super patient and super safe.
Blame F's slow approach towards the B side has been able to pick off Esperanto. Is still making a lot of presence towards that side of the map. Hunter hasn't been able to rotate because it hasn't been a full commitment from the heroic side, and now they'll push on through. Helmet's up. Hunter, only player there, and he can get nothing done with his position. It's spammed even through the edge of the box, and now Crazy, again, likely to save these weapons. It's not much to be brought into the next round. I imagine they'd even upgrade away from the SMG where possible, but if they're able to hold on to these, at least the armor is brought forward and they can upgrade into the appropriate weaponry. So again, these clean T-side rounds, though. Good way in dealing with the force buy or the kind of scrappy buy from Crazy is not giving up any advantages or not giving away any weapons.
Right. This is a very slow setup. I remember this is very contrary to what we have seen in the first few rounds on Dust 2, in the first few buy rounds on Dust 2 from Heroic, where it was this extremely aggressive style, but yet again, now it's going to be patience. Now it's going to be slow. I mean, they don't want to do any mistakes, right? And it's very obvious because you have to say, we're talking about a ticket for the minor. I'm repeating myself. Yeah. I'm aware of that, but this is still something.
Of course, if either of these teams were to fall in this particular matchup, they'd still have another opportunity to do so, but you don't want to have to wait until tomorrow. Seize what you can today. Oh, Molotov hits Letany straight in the face, so they'll hear that prompt and immediately spam on through. Meanwhile, Hunter has lined them up, and Esperanto swings out wide. This is looking to be a shutdown round from Crazy, and it's exactly that. Otto gets the double kill as well. And they completely trump Heroic's push.
Amazingly. Ah. And this is where I personally see, like, they're not going to give each other anything, right? There's no room for errors. They're not making any errors, really. It really has to be enforced. Nobody does anything that seems a little odd, anything that seems like they're not focused. Both are 100% in it. And Heroic, I mean, this is somewhat of their last buy for the second. I mean, we see 3 players on 2K, but the rest, if they're going to force through or an eco, it's a different sort of situation. It's about to see in case they lose. In the meantime, Crazy very short focused with actually an A-heavy situation where Nexa immediately rotates over. And seems like Banana is in the interest of Heroic.
It's these long strings of rounds that I'm concerned of. This could be the start of, could be 2, 3 in a row for Crazy. Is maintaining our trend in this best of 3, always finding an opportunity and finding some momentum to play with. Esperanto, quick double kill, almost the third onto Blame F. Phenomenal effort from him, but for now, Nexa's gone unchecked. They're not clearing that out. No Molotov for that position either, and he's just going to wait for the plant to come through. That gives them the opportunity for a double in his own right, and they lock out the B-bomb site as well.
And there you go with the money. 4K, 2.4. I mean, what's the situation here for Heroic? I mean, they could drop something to NATO and Staven. It wouldn't make sense, though, from a losing bonus perspective, if I see it correctly. The problem would be that NATO would not get an aggressive op in case that is so. Terrorist timeout it is. A perfect timing to take a look a bit at the advanced statistics, where it's funny, right? Because NATO Safix had good impact, yet he has only 50 ADR because he's playing the op, and if players are tacked up, you know how the story is. Funny-wise, though, Crazy, they really got to work on their utility damage in case they want to get on the level of somebody like Freiburg. Of course, it's not relevant in the end. But overall...
Of course, as well, Heroic, starting on the CT side, much easier to get
of
damage done.
Of course.
Especially when we saw Letany get completely bombarded.
That was painful.
Yeah, we've all been that guy. You think you're taking some good control for your team, and then you die to nades.
It's a yikes. It's a yikes. So 6 rounds for each. 6 rounds for both. And Crazy, they got all the weaponry. Just to give a hypothetical scenario, Heroic is losing this 11-10. Heroic is then buying up. Crazy winning this 12-10. Heroic down the drain with hardly any money left because they have won the initial 3 rounds, and then the losing bonus is starting to build up slowly. You know how it could be. This could be the spiral that starts up. Not so sure if that spiral is going to start. I mean, it depends, of course, on the following 2 rounds. Crazy shouldn't do any mistakes here, but we know it's Counter-Strike.
And the Deagles have been dangerous in this series so far. There's definitely opportunities for Esatag and Blame F to come to life. Especially if they're able to overpower Otto. If they give that weapon over to the Heroic lineup, you know that there's more than capable hands that could utilize it. But now the utility is keeping Heroic back.
And starts Hunter pretty much spraying them all down. Only finding 2 Funny Wise, which is a bit unfortunate. Yet again, though, the rest of the squad strikes, and this is all that is needed. The rest of the squad takes them down, and the rest of the squad is there to eliminate Heroic in the end. 2 casualties on the CT side. I think we can just forget about that for the moment. Match is paused due to a technical reason on the Heroic end. A little bit of loss happening. The scenario still, right now here, this is simply the buy coming in. And Blame could drop an AWP and buy body armor. Mathematics, I'm not good with it.
Yeah, no head armor. But...
Yeah, that would be I mean, not satisfying, but okay.
Yeah, the difficulty for Heroic is that they'll need to make a few compromises if they want to get the optimal buy. NATO Sapphics, not exactly in the most ideal situations. He's going to have to go Glass Cannon if he wants the AWP. Blame F could potentially buy up the op for him, like you were saying, but that suddenly puts him in a position where he doesn't have any utility in his own right. And typically it is those riflers that will take control of things like Banana, second middle, and the apartments early on into those rounds, and you need utility to do so. If you go through dry and you're just kind of hoping that you out-aim your opponents, the consistency of that isn't that beneficial. So what we're expecting to see from Heroic is likely either delayed Banana control, as Crazy have thrown a lot of their nades quite early on into these rounds and immediately backing off. If that's the case, then Heroic will have a bit more breathing room. It's felt like so far in this T-side half, with Crazy answering back in these rounds, they're competing for early control. But then when it comes to these site takes, Crazy just has so much utility and so much time to take these duels.
Right.
We'll see a lot more sort of... It'll look a little bit like Indecision, but we'll see a lot more of her kind of poking and prodding in different parts of the map just to try and bait out some of that utility.
And as we unfortunately still have loss on their side, would be very much interested to see how they'll advance in just a second. I don't know, Michael, really. At this point in time, I don't know what to expect from all of this, because realistically speaking, they're giving each other nothing. So if Heroic though fails in this situation, I see Crazy being on the right track overall.
I have to lean my favor over to Crazy. I think Heroic have been a lot better in clutch situations, but Crazy by and large have been a bit more consistent, even though they've had some... Let's not beat around the bush. They've had some really scrappy rounds, especially when we were looking at Mirage. That didn't seem to lend itself to the most strategic or most well-timed setups, but they've certainly come to play in this best of 3, and I think Heroic have been always in this position where they've struggled to establish strong enough momentum to really take a lead and hold on to it.
Oh, an auto though. Yeah, that's the initial frag. Stavin was not cautious enough. And this is where we gotta realize that things might look sinister. Dark clouds over the heads of the Danes. As Heroic tends to be a bit more mid-focused and only got Freiburg over on Banana. Here comes the first smoke. Should put Hunter in an uncomfortable spot. Is able to rather put himself back, but he immediately rotates to CT. He's only going for the archway, but he would be faster on the B side anyway.
Very tight angle being held by Hunter. NATO's going to track him down. The B split is certainly on the card, but Nex is already there. Takes down NATO Sapphics in response. Esperanto boosted up. Not going to be flushed out by any of the utility here from Heroic. And Nexa is being such a nuisance, already rotating to support Esperanto on the site, and he makes things so much easier for him. Estetag now left all alone.
Yeah.
And still 4 more players to find. Crazy will take the 12th. Strong plays coming out from Heroic to even get into a position like that, but
Yep.
Crazy just seems so ready to deal with it.
This is devastating. I mean, the 13 to 10, you would agree with me, I guess, is inevitable. The firepower on the heroic side is just weak, period. No discussion about that. And yet again, they're fighting for this with every single shot. But Crazy seems to be just in the driver's seat. But funny-wise, we have seen Crazy in the driver's seat and fail. And we have seen that previously in the best manner, obviously. Heroic now pushing on the A side, and only 2 can hold that down. This is gonna be hairy. Oh god.
Players were coming on transition. The side smoke is actually giving them so much more room to work with. Hunter able to get 1, but it's traded out. Heroic have the site, they can recover those weapons, and they get themselves into a post plant. The only thing that's a bit concerning is that Crazy still have so much utility for this retake. They can throw Molotov smokes to make things a little bit easier as they progress onto the site.
And they gotta do it pretty much ASAP. Heroic tries to stay alive a little longer and tries to turn things around. I got my doubt that this is gonna work. Crazy gotta do it right now. Next is gonna go in first. It works to some degree. Only one to find would be Stavin. Somebody needs to go for the defuse. The smoke is initiated. They do it in time, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, milliseconds.
And Stavin was out of ammo.
Jesus.
He had the CZ in the pit, and he's run out of ammo. That could have been a round that swings things back into Heroic side. Obviously, they're still going to be able to buy up into this one, but could have been 11 to 12, suddenly a gun round in which they could equalize. Crazy have at least established a bit of a buffer. They've got a lot of money as well, residual from all those previous rounds in which they were able to fund up a proper buy into this one, and they've still got reserves to spare.
That's extremely unfortunate for Heroic. I yet again pointed that one out in case they lose this one. 3,400 will be the losing bonus, which additionally means that, I mean, they have something around the 4K, but that's not making it any better, does it? And now patience is in favor for Crazy. The op off Otto might deny any further access to the A side, but that's not even pivotal because it's only one more man over on B.
Yeah, Esperanto was all alone. There's still 2 more players on the B site. I think they'd gone for some form of a flash play to see if they could find an early advantage on the Crazy side, but instead it works in Heroic's favor. 40 seconds, and I'll take Bracket's control, start to make their way up towards A. This could be a bait and switch, however. They will anticipate the rotation away from the site, but spotting out Letney, that may prompt things forward. They're going to commit fully for this.
And it's got to be only Letney doing that. We saw him being Heroic previous. He finds one, making a third, and the triple puts them in such an ideal situation, which means only Otto to be the first responder, basically, and one wrong peek from NATO, one mistake from his teammate Staffen, things might collapse by then. Either way, though, Womp is going to hit the ground in the last 4 seconds. No error allowed. No room for mistakes. Nexa is nearby. Flashbang pops, and that is the mistake from Otto. That is the mistake from Otto. This is the mistake from Otto that is he though going to punish him for? I don't know about it. NATO Zafix got the AUG, and he needs to turn things around. He plays around the site, but he got no chance at all. And Heroic, it's the night again.
These retakes are coming down to some really slim margins. Some of these late round flashes, I mean, you can see Heroic wanted to get into a position where they could both hold a crossfire and maintain and support each other in the retake, but they just weren't in a decent enough position to do so. You had Stavin pushing up in towards Graveyard to make sure that nobody could push in from that Moto spot. And as they flash on through, he gets caught in transition, burnt alive. It was really difficult to deal with, and some crucial shots being missed on the heroic side. That's now 6 in a row for CR4ZY. After Heroic won the pistol in the subsequent 2 rounds, it has been a standout performance from them on the CT side of things. Heroic have tried a few approaches as well. It's not as if they've only gone towards one particular strategy. They've tried a few different ideas, and CR4ZY have been able to shut them down in either commanding fashion or in these retakes. Oh, and what a call here from the CT side. They have the advantage, and they just want to push all the way through, give Heroic no room to breathe, and Freiburg and Essetag are the last 2 remaining. They've brought it to equal numbers, the bomb is dropped in towards second middle, and they're looking to get the advantage right back. One-on-one now between Nexa and Essetag, and they catch Essetag out. Nexa, the timing is perfect, and CR4ZY now at match and map point.
This is so freaking unfortunate. Take a look at the buy from Heroic. It's scrappy. Utility is limited. AK's only 3 out of 5. CR4ZY could book a ticket for that European minor, which is the pre-stage to the major, and seems like Heroic are not interested anymore of this astute plays. Let's go for it. And the mistake on Nexa is that he's fully blinded. I mean, it's not his fault, it's just the way it is. Hunter comes through a little aggressively, does not expect Blame behind the wood. And is this a deja vu, Michael? I'm not so sure about it yet.
And we could see a repeat performance of Dust 2. Heroic actually make the right call there straight off the bat. CR4ZY went again for this push in towards second middle, trying to take the fight straight to that Heroic lineup. And because they went for the fast B play, they immediately mitigate any sort of aggression from the CT side. May not have been the plan, but they certainly dodge a bullet in that regard, and they stay alive still in contention in the winner's bracket. They'll need 4 more like it. The silver lining over the hill is that CR4ZY's economy is starting to dwindle. This will be the last sort of comfortable buy from them.
Yeah.
The question is, do you do the same thing if you're Heroic? Sure, you saw success in that round, but you anticipate that you're going to be met by a lot more utility now. They didn't throw all the traditional pre-nades and have quite as much presence over towards B in the early stages because they've gone for that push over at A. Yeah, Heroic are going to slow it down. They're not going to make the same call. It would be certainly a brazen decision to go for that same kind of a push 2 times in a row. They're still going to do a decent amount of nade damage in towards the top of Banana. Esperanto down to 65.
Dust 2 was map number 1. Was the pick of CR4ZY. And they were leading 15-10 with overall looking dominant, strong, solid, whatever words you are looking for. And now, Michael, the story could repeat. I think CR4ZY does not want to have those flashbangs. CR4ZY does not want to repeat history, does not want to repeat the sinister scenario.
Seems like a decision may be made already for Heroic. 40 seconds remain and they're postured up towards the A site. The nades will ring through. And this will be the final push. It has to be the execute that's successful for Heroic.
Oh, there you go. No room for error. Hunter is up on the pedestal, staying so actively a little up high. And that's man number 1 eliminated. He sees the player to his right hand. He didn't realize what's happening, and CR4ZY for another save. This is getting a little weird, Michael.
do we go to another OT?
That's the question, isn't it? It's not impossible.
And that's the only scenario that you're thinking about if you're heroic.
Yeah.
It has to be OT. Crazy just need one play to be successful on their CT side to secure a spot in the European minor. Heroic are not going to go down without a fight. They are going to try and change their setup in as many ways as they can and make sure that the CT side can't over-aggress and catch them out. But in the same way that we're getting flashbacks, a little bit of Dust 2, in that it's the same positions, Heroic are fighting to stay alive once again. Again, it's the same kind of mistakes that were kind of punished from the Crazy side. It's some over-aggression in one particular round. Obviously, it almost worked in, and actually did work in securing Crazy a 15th, but some over-aggression that I'll admit I'm a fan of Cole's in that particular regard, but it almost cost them the round and almost gave Heroic a chance to not be put in this position where Crazy sit on match point. It's a very distinct type of call to make and one that has a lot of risk weighing behind it. But ever since that one instance, Heroic seemed to be kind of reinvigorated by that one overcommitment.
Crazy. Team that is just once more 3 rounds away from success. Heroic 3 rounds away from smashing in their head yet again. In the last few rounds, we saw extremely patient plays, and obviously Heroic was rewarded for it. Now in a bit more of an aggressive stance, they have left their lurker / last pillar of defense of B. Blame, though. Knock, knock. Otto! It's a millisecond where he looks in the wrong direction, and Letney's gonna be the man to then deny further exit. Is the dream gonna die for Heroic, or at least be postponed? As this is not do or die, but this is probably one of their last chances. Bomb is dropped, Michael. Story should have been told now. Yeah.
Davin has to clutch it back in a 1 versus 5. He brings it to 4 players remaining. Certainly still possible, but now they're going to take the fight. Hunter is the first to fall, but the trade immediate. That's them secured a spot in the European minors. Crazy progressed. Heroic dropped down to the loser's bracket.
And we're going to head into a little break. We're just going to be right back with North fighting Ancient, so don't go anywhere.
Charge up your game with excitement. Highest odds on the market. Coverage of all live and pre-match events. Place your bets with Solid Bookmaker and win with your favorite teams. Take what's rightfully yours with GG.